Blessed is the one who trusts in the Lord, whose confidence is in him. They will be like a tree planted by the water that sends out its roots by the stream. A few big differences right off the bat. The trust being placed, instead of a bush, it's now a tree, and a big shift in environment. That tree is planted by water. It does not fear when heat comes. Its leaves are always green. No fear equals complete confidence. No need to fear the heat when it's planted and connected to a water source. That is what's something that really stood out to me. It has no worries in a year of drought and never fails to bear fruit. That means no anxiety and no worries when things go down. Okay, when things happen, things are happening. Even if they last a whole year, you have no worries. You're not anxious. Always bears fruit. So not only is that tree not worried, but it's always able to give. And that's a big point right there. Notice how even when you trust in God and are blessed for doing so, heat and drought still come. God never says, trust him and things will be perfect. We have to understand this concept. He says that the challenges will come, but we will overcome them. You will overcome them if you're placing your trust in the right spot. Imagine being in an environment where you will always bear fruit. Imagine being so connected, so planted in an environment that covers you, encourages you, uplifts you, and sustains you through adversity and tough seasons. Think about the areas of your life. Think about the environments that you're in. Sometimes you just have to change environments. Sometimes you just have to get out of the environment that you're in. It's hurting you. A bush in a wasteland. That bush is never gonna grow. It can never produce fruit because it's in a land that is dry and thirsty. There's nothing there. But if you put that bush in a place where there's water and there's others around it to help nourish it and create nutrients, and then maybe it'll turn green. Maybe the flower will bud. Maybe, a bud. Maybe something can come of it. But the environment that we're in sometimes is just crushing us. And because it's familiar, because it's all we know, that cycle just goes round and round and round. And it makes me think about in the Bible how Jesus would say that, or not Jesus, well, in the Word, okay? It talks about how in Jesus' own hometown, the people that knew him best when he was a child and saw him grow up, no miracles could be performed there because of their lack of faith, okay? And so even if you read the Word of God and you talk about Abraham, and he's the father of many nations and everything would be blessed through him, he had to leave his father's house. He had to leave his own homeland to be in a new environment for that to happen. So I want you to think about that. I know this is a little segue. We're gonna get back into this, but I want you to pay attention to that. I just feel that strongly right now, that sometimes it's your environment. Just get out. You can't see anything new. You're not hearing anything different. Get out of that environment, hear something new, see something different, and I guarantee you your life will begin to shift in a new way. Even if it's small, it'll make a huge impact. Just wanted to share that. Let's get back to it. Now let's look at the contrast between the two, okay? The bush or the tree. The person is figuratively a bush or they're a tree. Where they place their trust is either trusting in man or in themselves for strength, that's the bush, or the tree, they trust in God with confidence. The bush, their environment and living situation is in the parched places of the desert, a wasteland, a salt land. A tree is planted by the water and their roots by the stream. Who's with them? The bush? No one. The tree? It doesn't say. What's the situation? For the bush, it won't see when growth or relief come. For the tree, no fear, no worries, even if heat or a year of drought come. What's the outcome of that trust being placed? For the bush, there's no fruit to give. For the tree, always has fruit to give. What are they called? What's the bush called by placing their trust? Cursed. What is the tree called by placing their trust? Blessed. So a few questions that I want to ask pertaining to this contrast. Are you looking for strength or are you moving with confidence? Is the environment dry and making you thirsty, or is it fresh and fulfilling? Are you blind to growth and relief, or are you fearless and calm? Are you fruitless, or are you always producing? The bush is us placing our trust in the wisdom, strength, and resources of others, or maybe even ourselves. Do we somehow think we are better, more faithful, and bring more hope than God Himself? I'm gonna let you sit on that question. It's one of the questions I've had to deal with as I was researching all of this. Remember, no one is above the process of having to place their trust. It includes you and me. But the attitude of trust and confidence is not something we can obtain without help. And this is where we're going to go a little deeper. Trust is a gift. Understanding that we will never truly be 100% self-sufficient helps us to cherish the gift of trust, okay? It is a constant growing process as we decide where to place it with each new day or circumstance. The bush or the tree is all up to thee. Don't go around placing your trust carelessly